Welcome to the Quick 10 podcast, brought to you by Cuick, focusing on all things FedCon and cyber defense from different perspectives and different personalities, all in 10-ish minutes. Here's your host, Derek White.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Quick 10 podcast, live from CUI-CON in Orlando, Florida, 2026. So we are 1 year removed from the last time we did this.
That's right.
That went fast, because that seems like that wasn't that long ago. So the obvious questions that everybody's saying, are you busy? The answer is yes. Everyone's swamped. So thank you for spending a couple minutes here today. You are speaking this week, but before you talk about that, I'll just refresh everybody that's already seen these or hasn't seen one yet, who you are, what you guys do.
All right, so Leia Shilobod, I'm the founder of CompliancyIT, and our firm does compliant help desk, compliant infrastructure, and compliance management services. So we're an MSP, but we also do the compliance consulting, helping organizations to establish a compliance program and then to maintain it over time.
So Leia and her team have been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
And so you have been here since the beginning, if we'll call that the beginning of a lot of things. So a lot has changed, which is good. You do a dynamic job of speaking when you speak, and so you get to do something this afternoon, which is great, regarding external service providers. So what's that going to be about? Give a little teaser. This will come out after, so there's no spoilers.
Okay.
So this will be post-production.
Well, that's okay, because either way, I think that you can't say enough about this.
That is true. That's
because like the DIB relies on MSPs and MSSPs in order to implement the controls and to stay compliant. Even larger organizations have MSPs that do some components of something, or MSSPs. So it's important to get this right. If you have an external organization that is helping you to meet any of the controls, then they become an external service provider. They will have provided you a CRM, a Customer Responsibility Matrix, which details which things that they are responsible for, which things you as an OSC are responsible for, and where that responsibility might be shared. Like they do a little bit of this and you do a little bit of this too. And getting that right is really important. When you select that company, if they are, not actually doing the things that they say that they do on their CRM, that's going to be really tragic when you show up for assessment, because you paid this organization a lot of money. You put a lot of trust into them, and that's actually what's happening right now. So when we're recording this, we're a couple months out from the rule going final, and all of these assessments are just like, everything's lurching forward, happening very quickly. So as it's been occurring, we have all these OSCs that are showing up for assessment. The C3PAO in phase 1 at like the first meeting is talking to the MSP or MSSP, looking at the CRM, reviewing the SSP, and maybe they get to the part where they actually look at the environment and the SSP does not match what's in the environment. Lots of moments. Immediately stop the assessment, kick it back 3 months, 6 months, a year. Really disruptive, not just to the whole getting everybody certified and everyone's schedules, but now this OSC is like, I can't rely on these people, and they have to make a very fast choice to change. You know how expensive it is to change service providers? It's usually what you have to do is actually buy, you say we start in February is when our new contract starts. You're paying for both of those providers at the same time during that handoff month in almost all cases.
You're lucky if it's a month most of the time. Yeah.
Sometimes it's longer, right? You might be in a situation where that provider is not really helpful with the change, right? So maybe they're making it really hard. Maybe that new provider can't even serve you the way that they'd like to because there's no information, or the old provider won't give them the information. It's really freaking painful. You don't want to do that under the stress and strain of having to prepare for an assessment. You don't. So who you choose is really, really important. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today is, saying everything I said now to demonstrate why it's so important, and then what kind of things to look for in a provider. So do you want me to tell you some of those things?
I would love that. You can, it's for them, not for me, but yes, I do want to hear that. This is good. Yes.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Some really important questions to ask. Have you implemented 800-171 inside of your own service delivery scope? And if they even ask something like, well, what's the service delivery scope, or they don't know what that means, that's also a bad sign. So your service delivery scope will be, if we're an MSP, or if you are an MSP watching this, that's going to be the people, technology, and facilities that you are using to deliver services to your client. That could be your technician laptops, or you could have an isolated VDI. That's what we do. We have an isolated VDI, so that our technicians remote to that secured lockdown environment and then serve all of the clients from there. But if you let them, serve them from their laptops, then that's all in scope. That all has to go through assessment. And if they haven't implemented 800-171, then you're going to fail assessment, because essentially that's all connected to your environment. So those controls have to be assigned there. People. So those people, those administrators of your environment, fall under both the PS controls for personnel security, as well as your training, awareness and training controls. So are they getting insider threat training? Are they getting some role-based training for what they do? Not just like security awareness training and fish testing, but actually like training on the fact that they are managing and maintaining secure environments with sensitive data. Like, you have to prove that, and they have to actually get that. And then are they being screened? Is their screening at least at the level of your organization? Where's the proof? If they hire somebody new, are they asking you first to get your authorization before they allow them into your environment? Because you're the information system owner. You have to authorize, and then that new person has to go on your asset management plan, the list of people who are authorized to access the system. Like, ask them those kind of questions. What are you doing in those kinds of things? Because if they don't know, they don't do it, or they don't understand what you're asking, that's a really bad sign, right?
Starting with CRM, 3.1.1. Have them walk you through that, because there's a lot of that going on right now, which is what you just said, isn't really done by the wrong party. So it has to be defined.
Absolutely.
Provider should not be telling you that.
Yeah.
But they have shared. That's where some shared stuff does cross over, because if they're the system owner, or however that support, I guess, provided is, that service being provided is what matters. Because you said don't have to get very far sometimes to say, not ready. And we're seeing false starts. We're seeing the value of mock assessments has been pretty popular already today in the meetings, in the topics being presented on here at the event. So so then from that front, where else are you going to take this presentation on how do you do that? Like, where's a good place to start? Are you going to touch on any of that? Like
Selecting a provider?
Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea to talk to trusted C3PAOs to see, are there organizations that you really trust and you recommend? That's a good, huge, this whole ecosystem is huge on referrals and relationships. And the people, we all kind of know the ones that you're like, don't talk to those people, right? We do. So asking the people in the ecosystem that are very trustworthy, who should I talk to? And you don't have to get a whole list, but interview them. Ask those questions. Like I said, do they have a CCP or a CCA on staff? At least one, because you really need some basic information about, you really just get baseline information by taking those classes, but you need at least that. And then ask them about their own internal processes. Do they have their own governance, risk, and compliance program to monitor the implementation and the maintenance of these controls? If they don't have their own program, 100% guys, run away. Because we all know this is not we did it once and it's going to stay that way. So they need their own program too. They need to be eating their own dog food if they're doing this, right? What else am I going to talk about?
That is one of the values too, is of the assessments being here now for months and being able to do that. It's not just, hey, we a provider passed our thing on this tiny little scope to act like you can do all this work. It's people using these services are also now passing, which is a good thing. Now again, things can change, and they may say that they've been a part of 100 assessments, but they do one little piece.
Right.
Does not mean that you buy their little piece and you're good. So that's where the responsibility matrix isn't always just provider to OSC and shared. You might have 6 different resources that you're using that then have to fit into that.
Correct, and that's actually on my list of things to ask. The one is, will you send me a sample CRM? So depending on what services you are engaging with, that might change a little bit in your, like, whatever your agreement is, but they should at least have a sample on hand to say, typically, you know, this is what our CRM would look like. If they don't have that, again, next. And then ask them about their security stack, like their RMM tool, what products that they use. They should be okay with transparently talking to you about those things if they want to keep it secret. Like, compliance is about transparency. So if they won't, you know, openly talk to you about those things, next. Especially their RMM, because that, like, they're going to remote into your environment. That needs to be over a connection that's encrypted with FIPS validated cryptography. And then also ask them how they do backups, because a lot of MSPs are becoming CSPs and requiring FedRAMP, which they can't do, because they're backing up client data and then storing it in their location or their cloud or their data center, and they've become a CSP, and then that's going to be a problem at assessment.
That's definitely, I would say the iceberg tip hasn't even really surfaced yet on the number of MSPs that, again, not even in a malicious way, but just in a knowledge-based way.
Correct.
That if you are providing a cloud service, you're a cloud service provider, and that makes you as part of the FedRAMP requirements, which we're not going to spend 16 hours talking about that right now, which we could, but that's definitely starting to come up through these assessments, because the C3PO's job isn't to determine that. Their job is to assess what you say you're doing, right? So that is a big, lots of research there can be done. So thank you for highlighting that, because that is a big deal. So thank you for spending time on this.
Yeah.
So this is why you come to conferences like this, is to watch people like Leia speak on topics like this, because it is a great way to ask questions.
Yes.
Because a presentation's one thing, but being able to walk around, mingle, try to find ways, solutions, relationships are important. There's no question about that. So thank you for touching on some of those topics. Hopefully there's some good value here by those watching. Now you get to send them, where do people go if they want to hear more from you, connect with you, and go to your guys' website? Okay,
so you can find me on LinkedIn. I am the only Leia Shilobod there. But in case you want to go directly to me, it would be like /Princess Leia. So
right.
I got that handle early.
Trademark that.
Yep. You can also go to CompliancyIT.io and find me that way. And you could just, if you Google my name, like there's only one of me in the world, so you'll be able to find me.
That's big shoes to fill right there. No, that's great. So thank you for coming on. You know, probably do it again.
Yeah.
And then we'll laugh about how long it's been. 2 years by, but thank you again. And yes, more information, you probably check it in the comments below. Some of our posts, you can always reach out to us too, and we can connect you with Leia and her team. But thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to subscribe to the Cuick 10 podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Cuick Track, visit our website at www.cuicktrack.com.